Let me go back and talk about kind of the 3PL. So it is completely free for every 3PL to be on there. In fact, if you're a 3PL, we probably already have your information on Slotted already because we've been building this database for over 8 years and we've worked with thousands of providers that have that information.
So
It's
before you go further, how does somebody claim their profile if their location's already there because they were part of the exchange?
Yeah, super easy. You're going to go to slotted.com. You're going to go to find 3PL. You're going to type in the name of your 3PL. You're going to click on the profile and you're going to push claim profile. And what that will do is it will take you through the onboarding flow where you will be able to set up your team, set up your information, and you'll be able to actually change what shows up on your profile. By default, there's not a whole lot of graphics or things on there. It's very plain. It's to be about what you would expect from a Excel database, but you have the ability to make this so much richer. And the providers that we've talked to that are really embracing this, they are inviting their clients to rate them, right? Because those ratings and reviews can stand out. Imagine if I'm looking through here and I see a sea of empty and I see one with 10 5 stars. Well, guess who I'm including into my shortlist? Probably that company, right? And you can upload videos, you can have graphics, you can put out every integration and things that you're doing to help you show up in more filters and to get credit for the good work that you're already being done. And so that first part of getting claiming your profile and getting set up is very similar to the brand side. You create your company profile. You invite other team members because this is meant to be a collaboration tool. Where if I'm the head of sales, I can invite 3 or 4 other people too, so that we can see where we are with the different leads and see where those things are. But the most important thing that you do at the beginning is you define who your ICP is. And we've got a number of parameters that are there. And so if you say that we only want beauty companies that are shipping 5,000 orders a day or more, that and we don't want to do retail, right? You can be so specific with about like 12 other parameters you can look at. And what will happen is in that RFP long list RFI piece, if there is a beauty brand that ships 5,001 orders a day and does retail, we're going to knock it out because you said you're not interested in that. And so you are only going to see the leads of people that have chose to talk to you, and you've saved time by both sides by saying, this is our criteria, this is what we work with.
Okay. So am I hearing this right when you're saying it? This isn't here to replace a 3PL sales cycle. It's here to enhance their sales cycle.
Absolutely. It's here to make it shorter. It's make your existing team more effective, avoid the riffraff of everybody going through and struggling and just taking all these crap leads that they have to talk to, and just being very, very thoughtful about how they're using their time and things like that.
Yeah.
And so the key thing here is that it's free to have your profile. It's free to set up. If you sign up for the subscription, which again we've priced this to be a bit of a no-brainer, then you get the access to unlimited RFPs, unlimited leads, things like that, and you'll actually be able to allow brands to invite you to these RFPs.
Yeah. And I think that's the really interesting piece. We talked about it early on, but to come back to it again, because we're talking high quality, high intent, we're already cutting down, right? So if what you're looking for is 10 million leads a year, this probably isn't the solution for that. But if you're looking for high quality leads that want to talk with you so that your sales team can focus on what you actually hired them for, which is closing the deal, like this is that opportunity. Um, awesome. Yeah. So you talked about it. It's free to be on. It's free to have your profile. It's free to be searched. There is the subscription piece, which we price it away, should be low barrier to entry and high ROI if you start to really work out the details of what your deal dynamics typically look like. Um, but let's say I haven't subscribed and Joe's brand found me. What happens?
Well, Joe's going to see that you're not interested in new clients at this point, right? You're going to lose that RFI trigger, and so the brands that are open for RFPs via the subscription will get that RFP. Now, that person, if you have a really compelling profile, they may choose to find your website and go through there, and then they kind of get lost in that whole thing. But uh, again, what we get to is this isn't just a lead generation platform. What is so powerful about Slotted is actually the RFP process.
Yeah.
And so what we've done as a prerequisite for both the brand and the provider is you are preloading a lot of information. On the brand side, we're going to be pulling in a year's worth of shipping data. We're going to stratify that into metrics and graphics that make sense to a provider to understand if this is a deal worth pursuing. So for example, if somebody is highly seasonal, you want to know that. If they have a SKU base that is massive and there's a huge distribution in terms of where those orders are, you want to know that. If they're heavier on some days or others, if they're multi-channel, these are all things that you're going to have to do manually to really understand and back into if this deal is a good deal or not. When we build the RFP, the brand goes through, answers some questions, gives very clear indications around what they're interested in. Is their incumbent still bidding? When they would look to be moving? What would be things outside of cost that would encourage them to move? And what the system does is it actually builds a unique data room, a unique web page for that RFP. And so you think about this is not a PDF anymore. This is now a clickable, highly rich RFP that both the brand and the 3PL can take a look at. The 3PL gets this RFP lead that comes through. They can decide who they want on their team to own that conversation, who they want to, how they want to address it. You can message directly with the brand, and like literally in the app. You don't have to go outside the app if you don't want to, but you kind of go through their instant messenger sort of thing. And then you get all these details about the profile of this company. And at that point, you can decide, am I going to bid? Am I not going to bid? And if you choose to bid, what most providers do is actually choose to pre-upload their base contract rates, both parcel and pick and pack. And what you're able to do there is that can help save some time because you're preloading those into the platform. You're able to go through and change exactly what you want to do. And so perhaps for this particular brand, it's a little bit more complicated, so I want to change my pick rate. Or perhaps I only want to show some parcel rates, and I can change the margin that I would want to charge on particular areas down to the shipping matrix point of view, or just in general by what's there. So you're basically able to look at this and start from all that data that you had anyways. And think about this, how many times have you had a situation where a sales person uploaded the wrong contract or the wrong rates, and you had to go back after, like, oh, sorry, like this was wrong, or I didn't include my margin, etc. That all goes away because it's controlled, it's structured, you're able to put it through there, and you go through that. You're able to build a very nice RFP. You can record a video that you upload into the RFP response and basically walk them through why people are there. If you have brands that have rated you, can include those testimonials. You can include those connections to those brands so they can talk directly. And again, think about today in the 2020s, you still have 3PLs that are responding back to RFPs with Word docs and PDFs. Now you have a data-rich web page that allows you to see exactly what's there. And not only that, you're able to do some back-of-the-envelope math inside the tool to say, what is this going to be worth to me from a revenue and from a profit perspective? And so from a 3PL perspective, I can manage all of this so much better to understand, okay, it's important to go after volume, but I want good volume. And so maybe I'm going to say no to a deal that is going to be a lot of dead revenue, and I'm not going to make a whole lot because I want to save room for a client that better fits my profile. And all of that happens behind the scenes with the provider, and then they're able to submit their RFP to the brand, who then gets to look at everything in reverse.
Yeah, I think it's a really effective way for fulfillment providers to streamline their RFP process. You're not starting from scratch every single time. You have a lot of information that's there. The tool is very effective in the sense that there's always some uncertainty, right? Brand says they're growing at 20% year over year. What if they don't? You have the ability to look at that and say, okay, if I have my pricing the way I have it and they come in at 80% of the volume, what does that look like? They come in more than that. What does that look like? Do I really have my minimums in the right spots? Am I really hitting the right keys? And that's a piece of feedback. I've been fortunate to be speaking with a lot of the fulfillment providers over the past couple of weeks as we've gone out public and talked with people about the solution. And that's a lot of the feedback that we get, which is, oh, that's very interesting that I'm able to see that way how it goes. But a couple of pieces of pushback that I get that I want you to address, and I can address too, is, well, if I preload my rates, then everyone can see my rates. If you preload your rates, who sees them?
Just the fulfillment provider.
Until they have done an RFP and have actually sent that proposal to a brand, right? And at that point, that brand's only seeing the proposal specific for them, right?
Yeah, let's be clear about what this is. This is not a race to the bottom from a cost perspective. There is no filter at all anywhere on Slotted, nor will there be where I can search and say, show me lowest price.
Right.
right? That is not going to exist because, again, relationship is the core that's right here. We want people to understand that price is important, right? And you'll continue to win and lose deals in large part because of that price, but we want you to build that relationship from the beginning as you go through.
Right. And every piece of business is different. Not every piece is the same. Not every piece of business needs to be priced the same. Not every business cares about the same cost lines in an invoice for different reasons, right? What people really want to be and should be going for is for value, and we want to make sure that you're able to demonstrate that. And I think that's the feedback that we've gotten, which we've done that in an effective way. One of the other questions that I get a lot is, well, what happens if I get into the RFP and I get invited, but I don't want to take part of it, or I start asking questions and then I want to back out of it? What does that cost me?
Nothing. Again, the subscription gets you the right to unlimited RFPs and unlimited proposals, right? And actually, if you bring a brand that you got from another channel outside of Slotted, that doesn't cost you anything either, right? You can say, hey, use this platform, sign up. We want to run our RFPs through here. That is part of your subscription.
Yep. And I think that's a really interesting feature. And then when we talk about those things, the next question I get is, well, then how the heck are you guys making money off of this piece, right? Like it seems like I get everything for free. Well, how is this? What's the catch? Where are you going to come for my wallet, right? And maybe not as blunt as that, but that's the sentiment behind it, because a lot of models that exist out there, it feels like there's a payment step at every single turn for a fulfillment provider. So what like how have we thought through that, or how have you and I thought through that together?
Yeah, and I kind of love the way that you frame it, where the goal of Slotted is not to extract maximum value financially from the ecosystem. We really think that if we build a big enough network, that this will fund itself and bigger. We are making our money off of the subscriptions. That is how we keep the lights on. That's how we fund things through that. There is a award fee that is paid out. It's a very modest award fee. If you end up going through and finding a brand through Slotted and they end up signing with you. And that award fee is really just meant to reinvest in the product. We've got that earmarked in our P&L where future enhancements and future things that we want to do. That's how we do it. So think of that as the provider's investment into the platform to make it better, to give them more of the features that would make their life easier.
Right. And we talked a lot before about the different models that are out there, right? And some challenges that can come for it's a rev share, it's in perpetuity, it's for a period of time. The award fee, what's the structure of that look like?
Yeah, it's a flat fee, one time, paid months after that person has moved into your facility. And so again, we want this to be a bit of a no-brainer. We want you to be able to afford it. We want it to kind of be there. And you'll see what the award fee is going to be as you're making that proposal. So we'll be able to say, hey, this is where it's at. This is what that total revenue piece is going to be to you. Based on the tiers, here's what that award fee would look like. And if you don't like that, you can not bid, right?
Right.
I guess the way you go.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I really like about that structure and feedback that we've gotten from brands as well is you know what that is, right? So you know the downside to protect against, or if you're taking on a level of risk, which is no different than if you were pricing this business yourself without us being there, there still is potential for downside. So it's in your best interest as a fulfillment provider to protect that. But the upside is all yours, right? Because once that's been billed and once that's been paid, unless you win another deal and you are charged another award fee, we're not coming back for any money on the deal and what you've delivered there. And I think that's what's really interesting, because if you are going to be a fulfillment provider that is going to sell and promise helping a brand grow, bringing extra value to them by keeping them in stock or delivering faster, better customer experience, all the different talking points that should be said, well, if you deliver on that, well, that's great for you and great for the brand, and you should be rewarded for that. You shouldn't have to have it lingering in your head that Joe's coming back to ask me for his percentage of that growth, right? And to your point, right, we're not maximizing the value monetarily. We're maximizing the value that we're bringing from elevating the boats that are out in the sea of fulfillment right now, and brands, because ultimately it's good for brands too when they end up in the right spots.
Yeah, being able to have the internet's largest open database of 3PLs and having a tool that walks you through the search, the analysis, as well as the decision is super valuable.